Hi, this is John Lineval from John Lineval Tutoring, and this is AP US History Video 29, American Cultural Identity in the Early United States. Education. Noah Webster, he of dictionary fame, you've probably heard of Webster's Dictionary, believed American culture was both separate from and better than British culture. Note to any British viewers, don't berate me, I'm just the messenger. One reason American spelling and pronunciation differ, I should say, since they're two things, they differ from British spelling and pronunciation, is because of Webster's influence. Webster published three textbooks intended to educate American youth, collectively titled A Grammatical Institute of the English Language. The first book was a speller, titled The American Spelling Book, which was published in 1783. The second was a grammar, published in 1784. And the third was a reader, published in 1785. The American Spelling Book used simplified spellings for words such as color, C-L-O-O-R, C-O-L-O-R, rather than the British color, C-O-L-O-U-R, and then center, C-E-N-T-E-R, rather than C-E-N-T-R-E, and so on. There's still some confusion today. For example, a very old street in New York City is Center, British spelling, C-E-N-T-R-E street, not C-E-N-T-E-R street. Webster later expanded the speller to become an American dictionary of the English language in 1828. Jedediah Morse, who insisted American children use American textbooks, came out with the surprisingly modernly titled Geography Made Easy. I mean, that sounds like something you'd see on a bookstore shelf or in a classroom today. It's Geography Made Easy. Anyway, let's move on. History. One way to learn about a culture is to see the stories that it tells about itself, or to hear the stories that it tells about itself. Soon, a few decades after the Revolutionary War, Mercy Otis Warren, an experienced writer and anti-federalist activist, published a three-volume History of the Revolution, 1805. Mason Weems wrote a flattering biography entitled The Life of Washington, published in 1800. Some later edition of the book contained the myth of George Washington that you've probably heard, George Washington the cherry tree, where he either damaged or completely chopped down his father's cherry tree, and when his father asked him about it, he said, "I cannot tell a lie, I chopped down your cherry tree with my little hatchet." As you may have guessed, that never really happened. But here's a real historical fact. Governor Morris, who was not a governor, that was his name, was dared to greet Washington in an inappropriately casual way, and Washington basically just gave him a death stare until Morris ran away. So here we go.
George Washington was an amazing man, but very proper and stern, but also revered by all. But one guy thought it was perhaps overblown, and was talking smack that George wasn't all that awe-inspiring in person. Governor Morris thought that it couldn't be that intimidating meeting George Washington, so Alexander Hamilton made him a bet, if he would, upon meeting the general, clap him on the shoulder and say, "My dear general, how happy I am to see you look so well," which would be the modern equivalent of saying, "Hey Georgie boy, how they hanging?" Hamilton would buy an expensive dinner for him and 12 of his friends. Well, Governor Morris did, and won the bet. But Washington immediately removed Morris's hand from his shoulder, stepped away, and used Morris with an angry frown until the trespasser retreated in confusion. Hamilton paid up, yet at the dinner Morris declared, "I have won the bet, but paid dearly for it, and nothing could induce me to repeat it. The dude could literally end you with a stare." Edit. Governor Morris, not Governor Morris. That was his name, not his title. Thanks you and Ike 1NG. Edit number 2. You impeached Trump of it recommends Washington. A Life by Ron Chernow, same guy who wrote Alexander Hamilton, upon which the musical Hamilton was based.
Alright, so that's a little fun fact about George Washington. That was a real historical fact. And let's see. So if you're curious about Governor Morris, we can find his Wikipedia article. He was a senator from New York, and he was the founding father of the United States, a signatory, so he signed the Articles of Confederation and the Constitution. He wrote the preamble to the Constitution, etc. So he was a mover and shaker. He was born into a family in New York City, so he was kind of part of New York state politics and federal politics. He was definitely a big deal in both. Actually the kind of guy who might actually be able to go up to George Washington and greet him in a very familiar way, but I guess not. And he was also chairman of the Erie Canal Commission. So those of you from New York State, he's one of the people who helped get Erie Canal, also known as Clinton's Ditch, dug. All right, but let's get back to this. Architecture. So around the 1800s, early 1800s, this was the first time true architects appeared in America. Charles Bulfinch, born in 1763, died 1844, brought the federal style to the United States after touring Europe. Columns like the Greeks, ties to democracy. So he was heavily influenced along with a lot of other Federalist architects. They were influenced by Robert Adam, who lived from 1728 to 1792. So think columns, symmetrical structures, dome public spaces. So neoclassical, you can see the architect of the Capitol at aoc.gov. And simplicity and balance, you can see things Greek and Roman influences on Washington, D.C. architecture at millrose.com. So let's move on. So I talked about AOC, not this AOC, the architect of the Capitol. So we can take a look at this here. Alrighty. So you can explore the Capitol campus. You can see right on the landing page here, lots of columns. It's symmetrical. It's got two wings that are in balance. Got a nice courtyard and everything, little statues. So we can explore the Capitol campus, the buildings and grounds. So you can see a lot of not little edifices here, buildings. They're all kind of built in that style. And if we look at things, the House office buildings, lots of columns, rotundas, things that are under great big domes, a rotunda. And Supreme Court building, again, more Greek inspired, kind of got the triangular roof and the columns. So there was a reason for that, and the reason for that is because they wanted to show that democracy had come from the ancient Greeks and that modern day American, United States architecture, the government architecture, of course, would mirror that link, would show there's a link between ancient Athens, for example, and modern day Washington, D.C., including the architecture. And it's very stately looking and very attractive, so not a bad idea. And we can take a look at Greek and Roman influences on Washington, D.C. architecture at millrose.com. And you can see, okay, here's some things here. So there's the Lincoln Memorial. And you can see, okay, it's very similar to the ruins. Here's a temple at Paestum, circa 460 before the Common Era. And you can see, okay, the Pantheon at Rome, so that's looks fairly similar to things under rotundas like you see in Congress. Union Station, okay, so we've got Washington, D.C.'s train station, and it's got the columns and things like that, and Union Station interior, so you can see the curved roofs, kind of domes, rotundas, things like that. Okay, the Arch of Constantine from Rome, Baths of Diocletian, U.S. Capitol. So you can see similarities between things that were built in ancient Rome and ancient Greece and the architecture in Washington, D.C., the federal style. Did you find this video useful? Please like it and subscribe to my channel. Neither action costs you anything. You'll be alerted about my new videos. Why should you do that? Well, it's simple. YouTube doesn't let me share any ad revenue unless I have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours, or if you like, 240,000 minutes of view time in a year. So if you saw an ad in this video or before this video or after this video, please know that I haven't received any of the revenue from that. And while many people are watching these, I don't have 4,000 hours of watch time. I don't have 1,000 subscribers at this time, although the last time I checked, I had 925. So every one of you who subscribes to my channel is really helping me out. And it's a way to get me money without giving me any of your money. And of course, why should I have money? Well, ad money will help me pay the bills and make more videos. For the same reasons, you are not only welcome but encouraged to share links to this video, put it up in playlists, etc. I will gladly read and respond to constructive criticism or suggestions for new videos.
I'd appreciate your input.
I do reserve the right to delete comments such as troll posts or spam, your basic destructive criticism. And you can hire me for tutoring if you're in the Bay Area. We can meet in person, subject to COVID rules and distancing, masks, etc. And of course, if you're anywhere where you have internet, which you probably are if you're watching this, then you can hire me to do this through Zoom. Thanks for watching, and my contact information follows. Contact me. Facebook, it's facebook.com/Linaball Tutoring. Instagram, instagram.com, john.linaball.tutoring, /john.linaball.tutoring. My phone number is 415-623-4251. That's my cell phone. You can text me even. Email john@johnlinaball.com. Website www.johnlinaball.com, www.johnlinaballtutoring.com. I'm also on testpreparation.locals.com. That's my locals.com site. And I'm also at lbry.tv at John Linaball Tutoring. And if you want to send me some good old-fashioned postal mail, you can mail me at John Linaball Tutoring, 1859 Powell Street, number 109, San Francisco, California, 94133. Finally, note, this is not a substitute for your classes, text, etc. This video is based on the Barron's AP United States History Review Book, 4th edition, any other sources listed in the video description, and my general knowledge of U.S. history. While this should help you do well on the AP U.S. History exam, I can't be responsible for what your teacher thinks is important and asks you about in or on his or own tests, homework, etc. Please read your class texts and pay attention to what your teacher says in class if you want to do well in the course and not just on the AP U.S. History exam. All right, hope you have a good one. We'll talk to each other later. Well, I'll talk to you. All right, bye.